Joining me now, the founder and executive director of the National Security Institute, Jamil Jaffer. He's an expert on national security, cybersecurity, and counterterrorism. Good morning to you, as always. Thanks for being here. What is the level of concern, your biggest takeaways, as we learn more about these investigations into international interference?
Well, I think what's clear here is that foreign nation states, including China, Russia, and Iran, are actively trying to influence American politics. They're trying to come after our elections. They're trying to undermine American confidence in these elections. And they're doing it by using some witting and some unwitting Americans. In this case, it looks like the founders of this company were aware that they were being funded by Russia. But it's clear that the content creators, at least, were not aware. And that's a huge problem, because then you have people who are trying to convey a political message, whether you like it or not, and they're doing it through ways that are being funded and maybe even shaped by foreign nation states, whether Iran, China, or Russia.
So legally, what is the best way the U.S. government, the Department of Justice, can intervene and combat this in the midst of a tight race leading to November?
Well, I think there's a few things we need to do. One, we obviously need to go after the purveyors of this stuff, the people that are funding it, the people that are taking the money knowingly, and make sure they're punished for doing that. But then on top of that, I think the key has got to be we as an electorate need to come together and realize that a lot of the messaging we're getting and a lot of what we're hearing and a lot of frankly, the toxicity of the election campaign may be very much fueled by Iran, China, and Russia, and we shouldn't give in to that toxicity, because all that will do is empower our adversaries.
For the average American filing through their social media feed, are these fakes easy to spot?
Look, I think in this case, it would be very hard to tell. Some of these influencers are well-known commodities that have been on social media for a long time. They didn't even know they were being taken advantage of by Russian funding that was seeking to shape them, because these Russian funders had complicity with these founders who were trusted commodities within the community as well. And so I think that's the challenge. When Americans decide to partner with foreign nation states and influence our own politics, that's where you run into a problem. And a lot of the people involved, in this case, the communicators, weren't even aware it was happening. They were communicating what they thought was their messaging.
And this is a little in the weeds, Jamil, but that's where you live, right? You know this inside and out. What types of cybersecurity measures might these companies now take or should have been taking to help prevent this interference?
Well, in this case, what's obvious is there was no measures that could have solved it, because the founders were complicit with, if you believe the indictment. Again, these are facts that are alleged, not been proven in court, but at least based on facts alleged by the government, if they are accurate, the founders knew what was going on. Their emails demonstrating they knew what was happening. So no amount of cybersecurity would have helped here. Now, as a general matter, there are things you can do. One, if you're a consumer of information, be aware of what you're reading. Think about whether what you're reading is really a messaging coming from the person you're hearing it from, or is it being influenced by outside sources. Don't give in to the toxicity that's happening in these campaigns, and realize that part of what's going on here is that there's a desire by Russia, China, and Iran to make us and to put us at one another's throats. We don't want to give in to that as a nation, as an electorate. And that's true whether it's before the election, after the election, whether there's a contest or not, whether there's a debate about, what voting happened. A lot of that challenge will come about because foreign nation states benefit from that kind of problem.
Yeah, we all, not just journalists, but each American voter needs to have a certain level of skepticism about what we see on social media, because this does erode trust in our electoral integrity. Jamil, as always, thanks for helping us grasp what's going on here.
Thanks, Marnie.